guys, welcome to a brand new episode of the Bunny Network. Today I have a very awesome project. I'm going to make a custom PS5. So if you love games and comics, you're gonna love this. Alright, let's not waste any more time and get to work. Ever since I was a kid, I've been fascinated by games and superheroes. I read hundreds of comics, but the character who captivated me the most is Spider-Man, because he's so relatable. Not only that, but he's a media icon. From movies to games, we've seen him everywhere in different versions. I still remember the good old times playing Spider-Man on PS1. Even if the graphics weren't the best, the story featured well-known characters like Black Cat, Carnage, and of course Venom. Fast forward to 2024, 9 generations later, and now we have Marvel Spider-Man 2 on PS5. And I can truly say this version of Venom is the most badass yet. Of course, with the release, Sony also launched a console that matches the game. So today I'm gonna try to make my own version of the console. As usual, for the sketch we'll need an iPad, Apple Pencil, and of course Procreate. This is the best method if you want to create a sketch that you can later transfer onto any object. I recommend working at a high resolution to avoid pixelation when zooming. As Procreate works with pixels, the higher the resolution, the smoother your lines will look. The most important thing at this stage is to draw loosely and not spend too much time on the details. I just want to get an idea of the layout and how the characters will look. Once I'm happy with the character's appearance, we can add details like the web pattern on Spider-Man's suit and the texture on Venom. Alright, let's see how the sketch looks. The characters are nice enough, it's time to vectorize them. The first thing I'll do is remove the side panels from the console, so I can work comfy without getting any paint inside and mess everything. Before transferring the drawing to the console, it's essential to sand it down to ensure the paint adheres well and lasts longer. I'm going to use fine grit sandpaper to lightly sand the PS5 panels. This will help the primer stick better, creating a rougher surface for it to bond with. I need to focus on light sanding. I don't want to remove too much material, just to scuff the surface a bit. At this stage, if you want everything to go smoothly, you need to be careful. To ensure the panels are clean, I'll wipe them with a cloth and alcohol to remove any remaining residue from sanding. Alright, now that we've prepped the panels, it's time to move on to the fun part. I'll be using spray pens to color the background. And also guys, remember to wear a mask because paint fumes are very toxic, especially inside a room that's not well ventilated. Before painting, I'll apply a few layers of primer to ensure the paint sticks well. We need to hold the spray about 20 cm away from the PS5 panel and spray it smooth, even motions, moving left to right and starting from the edge of the panel. This will get us an even cover without drips. Okay, our plates are ready, I'll let them dry, then look for a color to match the theme. Let's put a cap on it and start spraying. I'm using purple for the background to create a vibrant and dynamic look that really makes Venom pop. This video is just a guide, so if you wanna follow along, you can use whatever color you desire. While the first panel dries, I'll look for a red that matches our theme. Don't forget to shake the spray can well before applying, otherwise the paint will come out thick. The right panel will have a bright red background in a pop art style, with some yellow comic style energy bursts behind Spider-Man. As before, I'll hold the spray about 20 cm away from the panel and spray it light, in even motions. Also, after each coat of paint, let it dry for a few minutes before applying the next layer to get a smooth finish. To achieve sharp lines, I'll be using masking tape to cover the areas we don't want to paint. After a few layers, we let the panel dry completely. Depending on the paint you're using, this can take between 30 minutes and an hour, so use this time to clean up your workspace or plan your next step. If you take your time now, later will be a breeze. To be honest, I cannot wait to see the sketches on this. I'm not gonna lie, it took some time to get those panels done and ready for painting, but in the end they came out great. I love them. Now that I've got the background ready and painted, I'll let it dry until tomorrow, then we can move on to the sketch. For the transfer, we need the sketch, a ballpoint pen, some masking tape, and of course our PS5 panels. The first thing we need to do is double check if the background is dry and that we're happy with how it turned out. Now we can trace with a pen over our sketch. Press firmly, but be careful not to tear the paper. You want to make sure the lines transfer nicely. This step is the most important in this video. I need to make sure everything turns out good, otherwise I need to paint over and that will take some time. This is the fastest method to transfer a drawing onto another object, and as you may have noticed, I use this technique in most of my videos. Alright, it's time to see how it turned out. Let's carefully leave the sketch and the indigo paper. It's not the cleanest sketch, but it's okay because we'll cover most of the smudges with the black paint. Okay, now that we finished the sketch for the Venom panel, I'll do the same for the Spider-Man one. If you like this process, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe for more creative content. Let me know in the comments what design you'd like to see in the future videos. This time I'll try to press lighter so that no smudges will appear like on the Venom side, especially since there's quite a bit of space alongside the characters, and it will be harder to fix if there are any indigo stains. Even though it's a quick method, it can fail sometimes, but it usually turns out okay. I'll keep being careful and hope everything goes as planned. Now that everything is traced, it's time to see the result. You can see Spider-Man and Miles' outlines perfectly. Okay, I got the sketch ready and it looks pretty nice. Now it's time for the fun part. Let's get started on the colors. First, let's talk about materials. I'm using Posca markers for the vibrant matte finish. They're perfect for achieving the clear details needed for a character like Spider-Man and Venom. Now let's move on to Venom. His body is mostly black, so I'm using an intense black Posca marker for the base layer. Using acrylic paint is ideal for this kind of work due to its versatility and unique property. Firstly, acrylic paint dries quickly, allowing for a quick addition of extra layers to create depth and dimension. Unlike other types of paint, acrylic adheres well to various surfaces, whether whether it's plastic, metal, wood or canvas, making it suitable for detailed and precise customization. Acrylic provides complete coverage, ideal for characters like Venom, where a deep black is desired. Similarly, if you want to add light or shadow effects, you can use light or dark shades without worrying that they'll be influenced by the underlying layer. Also, acrylic paint offers a wide range of vibrant colors and can be diluted for various effects, so don't be afraid to try things out and see what you get. To color Venom's eyes, we'll use a white Posca marker. Start by applying a base layer of white, ensuring the surface is fully covered. It's important to apply the paint in a smooth motion to avoid streaks or missing spots. This marker offers excellent opacity and its intense white enhances the character's menacing gaze. I usually apply several layers to make sure the white stands out perfectly. I do the same for Venom's teeth. It's a pretty relaxing process, but remember to let the paint dry well between layers. A bit time consuming, but relaxing nonetheless. After we're done with this, we can move on to the spider symbol. Visually, the symbol on Venom's chest adds a strong contrast against his black body, further accentuating his imposing figure. To color Venom's mouth, I'm gonna start with the dark purple marker for the inside of the mouth. Okay guys, I'm done with the colors for the first panel, now let's move on to the next one and see how it turns out. Let's begin with Spider-Man. For his suit I'm using a slightly lighter red Posca marker than the background. The key here is to apply an even layer and not rush. I use smooth steady strokes, then add a second layer after the first dries to achieve a solid vibrant color. So far so good, I really like how it turns out. To color Venom tentacles on the left side of the PS panel, start by applying a base layer of intense black with a Posca marker. This will give it that dark and menacing look unique to Venom. I need to make sure to follow the natural shape of the tendrils, tracing fluid, slightly curved lines that suggest movement. I like how they wrap around the console sides, making a continuous composition. To color the blue parts of Spider-Man's suit, I start with a light blue to get that vibrant color specific to the hero. For this, I use the sky blue Posca marker as a base, applying the color evenly across the surface for a clean, clear look. For Miles, I use a red marker for the accents on his suits like his hands and eye frames. His suit is slightly darker, but just as impressive, so I'll use a dark grey paint for the base of his suit. For darker colors like grey, it's especially important to get an even base. If you notice streaks, let the first layer dry and add the second one. The smoother the base, the cleaner the final details will look. I love how everything looks so far, and with some shadows and highlights this will be even better. I really hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Now let's focus on Venom's teeth. I'm using a cream marker to add in shadows. The first step is to lightly outline the edges of the teeth with a cream marker. This will give volume and highlights to their 3D shape. For the tongue I'll use a darker shade of pink to give it a more organic look and avoid a flat appearance. I'll color in the hidden areas behind the teeth and inside the mouth. Once I'm done with the shadows, I'll add some grooves in the tongue with an even darker pink. After that it's time to add a few purple accents to highlight Venom's slimy look. A few blue comic style elements with a half top pattern and we're all set. Now let's move on to the next panel. Just like earlier, I add some purple highlights on Venom tentacles to give them some depth. Then we can get to the shading on the costumes. I've always been fascinated by how amazing Spider-Man suits can look even though their designs are fairly simple. I'm curious which suit do you prefer, Peter Parker's or Miles? Leave the answer in the comments. Okay guys, we're done with the coloring, so now we can move on to the outlines. I'll start with Venom. This part is fairly simple because most of the character is already colored in black, so the only thing left to outline is the mouth. I started with the teeth using a black marker to carefully trace the outline, and then we can move on to the Spider-Man. This stage is my favorite because now the drawing finally starts to take shape just as I imagine it. I began by outlining the character's outer shape and then added the details like the web pattern. Alongside the Posca markers, I also used some liners to clean up the lines a bit. It's always a good idea to double check when it comes to the outline. For Miles, I'm using a red Posca marker. When drawing the webbing, make sure to follow the natural contours of the body. For anyone who wants to draw Spider-Man, here's a tip for those long curved lines on the web. Anchor your hand by resting your pinky or wrist on the surface to help keep the line steady. You gotta move slowly and evenly, and if needed, draw in section instead of trying to make a long line all at once. That's it guys, we're all done with the character outlines, and I really hope you enjoyed this process. Alright guys, that was the end of the process. If you found this video helpful, give it a like and don't forget to subscribe for more awesome content. I'm looking forward to your feedback in the comment section below. Now it's time for those awesome reveal shots. That's it for today's episode guys, thanks to everybody who stuck up until the end. I had so much fun making those panels and I'm sure I'm gonna make more. So if you don't wanna miss anything, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, see you right here on the Bunny Network.